WordPress is easy for you and I, but it's not as easy for our clients. Ever notice that when you deliver a website to a client and you show them how easy it is to use, they look a little confused and they have lots and lots of questions, and you end up having to train them so they can do simple tasks like create or edit posts? If only there was a solution. Turns out there is, and in this video, you're going to learn it, and your clients are going to be thanking you for watching this video. Hi, I'm Bjorn from WPLearningLab, and let's get started. I just want to give you a quick overview of what we're going to build. We have a website here with blog posts. Under each blog post, there's an edit post button. If we click on that, we can edit the post right on the front end of the website. This is great for you, great for your clients, great for any writers your client hires. If your client wants to create a new post, they can click on create a new post right up here and start creating a new post. If you have other writers that you want to have on your website, on the My Post page that we create, it will show a listing of all the pages that each specific writer has created, and then they can edit those pages. They cannot access or edit anybody else's pages. Plus, they also have a dedicated media library which only shows the images that they themselves have uploaded. It's super slick. We're going to do all these things in this video. Your client is going to love you because it makes their life so much easier just to be able to go to the front end and just visually edit things, click on things, and not worry about all the complicated WordPress backend dashboard. It's all done on the front end. To get started, we're going to have to install some plugins. Let's see what we have installed right now. Go to Plugins. We have only Elementor and Elementor Pro. We do require both of those. We do need Elementor Pro to make this work because we need access to the templates, specifically the loop template for Elementor, and we're also going to need access to Elementor's dynamic capabilities. Both of those are with the Pro version. If you don't have the Pro version yet, there's a link in the description down below so you can get it. It is an affiliate link. If you end up buying through that, it does not make it more expensive for you to buy Elementor, but it makes it so they send a credit to me that helps me keep making these videos on YouTube. So if you buy through that link, I really appreciate it. So once we have these two installed, which you probably do because you're going to have built the site probably in Elementor, we're going to install some more plugins. Let's go to Add New Plugin. Let's look up Frontend Admin. This is the one we want right over here. At this point, I'd be saying you should back up your site first if you're doing this on a production site. But for this build, I recommend you do it on a staging site or locally first, just to make sure everything works as expected. Some hosts provide staging capabilities, so you could just do a staging site through your host. Others do not. If your host does not do it, there's a card up above with a tutorial that will show you how to use the WP Vivid plugin's staging functionality that you can use on any WordPress site, hosted on any host. Click on Activate to install this guy. Incidentally, the creator of this plugin, his name is Shapti Kaplan. He's created this plugin and a bunch of others that are super useful. And he has a YouTube channel where he covers all kinds of in-depth tutorials on how to use his plugins. So if you want to know more about Frontend Admin, I'll link to his YouTube channel down below so you can check out his videos. Now we have that installed. Let's add another one. Let's install Elementor Custom Skin. This is the one we want right over here. Click on Install Now and then Activate. And now with these 4 plugins installed, we can do the first part of this video, which is going to give your client the ability to edit posts on the front end with their own account. So we're going to be assuming that all the posts are theirs. There's no other writers outside of themselves or somebody on their staff. We don't need to have the ability for each writer to be able to access their own stuff. Everybody's able to edit everything in the first part of this video. In the second part of the video, we're going to add some more plugins so that you can create it so that your client can have writers be able to edit only their content and see only their content, which makes things a little more organized, and then it gives you 2 different options to show your clients, and they can decide which way they'd want to have their site built. And this website is built completely with Elementor, and these posts are created using the Posts widget inside of Elementor, and using the Elementor Pro functionality to create a loop template plus the Elementor Custom Skin functionality, we're going to put a new loop in place of these posts. So we're going to head into our website, zoom back in over here, and first we're going to create the loop. So let's go to Elementor Templates. Then we click on Add New Template, and we select from here loop, not loop item. Choose loop. We're going to call this posts loop. Click on Create Template. We see some options here. We're not going to choose any of those. We're going to click on the X, and we are going to build our own. Now what we want to do inside this loop is recreate one of these post loops that we have. And they are featured image with the category overlaid, the title, the excerpt, a divider, and the date. So let's recreate that. We're going to start with featured image. Then we're going to add the post title. And we're going to change this section to be boxed and give it a width so that we're not taking up the entire width. I want it to be kind of like that. I'm going to change the H1 for the HTML tag to an H4 for the title. Now we're going to add the post excerpt. We're going to add a divider. I'm going to try to under the excerpt. There we go. We're going to add post info. We're going to remove everything except for the author and the date. Just going to keep those two. They have the date on here only. I'm going to keep the author or add the author because later on it's going to make more sense for the second part of this video when we're going to have multiple authors. I'm going to add some padding on the top and bottom of this title. I'm going to change the color to be a little more gray. I'm going to make all of these the same color. And that's close enough. We don't have the category in the top right, but I'm okay with that. You can add that in by adding the post info, changing the position to absolute and moving it around. But the point of this video isn't that. The point of this video is to make it so your client can edit this on the front end. So let's get to that, which we're going to do right now, actually, the first most important part of it. If we shut down all of these different Elementor widget sections here, at the very bottom, we have some front-end admin sections. There's one for forms, for fields, for posts, for users, for taxonomies, and if you haven't guessed it yet, front-end admin does a lot of stuff. There's hundreds of use cases. We're just doing one in this video. We want to use the edit button option, or we want to add that to the page. I'm going to throw it right there. Here, there's a warning saying it's only visible to administrators. To make this error message go away, we have to add a permissions rule, which we're going to do in just a second. First, let's go through the button options. We have a type, the standard Elementor types. We can edit the text here. And these two, the link to page and the URL query key, are the most important ones. So make sure you have those filled out with what we have right in here. Go to permissions. Let's click on add new permission. Let's call it visibility. We're going to add a permissions message of you do not have permission to view this form, which is what people who are going to see who are, for whatever reason, seeing this button and they're not administrators and they click on it, then they're going to get that message. But this should only be viewable based on the permission values we set here, which are only logged in users, and of all logged in users, only administrators can see it. But you might have many administrators, and maybe not all of them need to be editing posts. And so you might have a situation where you want some administrators not be able to use the edit post function. Then you can select them by user specifically. So if I start typing my name in here, because we have my user account, only I will be able to click this button and edit the post, because my name is here and I'm an administrator. So you can set that up that way if you want to. It's going to leave that blank. Later on in this video, when I'm going to show you how to add multiple writers to a website and they each have their own posts that they're responsible for, we can then use this section here to make it so that they only see their own specific media library items that they've uploaded for their posts, which is super slick. I'm going to change the styling a little bit for this button. I'm going to change the font type to Poppins so it fits in a little more with the rest. I'm going to center it. I'm going to add a little bit of padding to the top, and then we're done. Let's click on publish. We're not going to add a condition because we're going to add this to specific pages and it needs to appear everywhere. You can add conditions if you need to, but in this case we don't need to. And the button also is designed this way because it's colorful. It fits in with the overall aesthetic of the website and it just looks good. Now that we have the post loop completed, we can go to here, to any page that we want the post loop to appear on with the edit button. Click on edit with Elementor. And now all these posts are added with the edit posts widget. And under skin, we have the ability to add custom. This custom option is added by the Elementor custom skin plugin that we added at the beginning of this video. If you don't have this plugin, this option won't be here. When we click on that, we can select the default template to use for our posts. I'm going to look up or start typing in post loop, and there's the one we just created. And there are all the posts right there. It pulls in a whole bunch because of the settings we have set down below. So let's set them a little differently. Let's put that back to 1 per column. And it pulls in that first one. And you'll see it has an edit post button. Pretty slick, huh? We created this loop with this image, but it dynamically pulls in all the most recent post data and adds the edit post button where it's supposed to. I'm going to change this to 1 per page. So it's just this first one. And then over here, going to add custom again. And I'm going to add our posts loop again. And I'm going to change this to 1 column, 2 posts. And now we have the same post twice. We do not want that. This is likely the most recent post on the site. That's why it's appearing first in both, because that's the default. And then this is the second most recent, and then that third one we saw is the third most recent. So what we do to move this out of this top position here is we click on the pencil to edit the post widget, go to query, go to exclude, and in the offset box here, enter 1. And now it skips 1, which is in this case the very first one. So when we add another new post, this one will then be position 2. It's going to be the first one up here, and the newest post is going to appear in its place right here. So now we have the ability to edit on the front end. Let's see how that works. Let's click on publish, and because I'm logged in as the admin, I'm going to be able to see those edit buttons. Let's scroll down. Look at that. Super slick. And now if we click on the edit post button, nothing good is going to happen. It's going to be a 404. I'm going to prove it to you. 404 not found. Why is that? Because we have to do 2 more things. Luckily, these things are super quick. We've done all the hard stuff already. These next 2 are really easy. Let's go back into our post loop and remind ourselves of this link to edit page right here of the page slug edit dash post. We have to create that page. We're getting a 404 because that page doesn't exist. In addition to creating the page, we also have to add the form that front-end admin is going to create for us. So front-end admin created the edit post button. Now we need an actual form to be able to edit the content. So let's go back into the dashboard, the main dashboard, go down to front-end admin, click on forms, click on add new. There's lots of options that front-end admin gives you for adding and editing forms, but by default, built by the creator, we have a new post form, an edit post form, a duplicate post form, a delete post button, a post status button. We have a new user form, an edit user form, a delete user button. We also have a new taxonomy form, edit taxonomy form, and delete taxonomy button. For what we're doing here, we're editing posts. We're going to create the edit post form. Let's click on that, click on save changes, and the form is done. Super slick. You can open all these options. If you've used ACF before, you'll recognize that this looks pretty familiar because it has all the same functionality. You can add a new field right here, and you can add just all kinds of field. Text, text area, number, range, email, URL, password. I'm going to scroll through here. You can read them as I go. Galleries Pro only. Almost anything you can think of that you want to do with front-end editing, you can do with front-end admin. But we're not going to change the edit post form at all. We're just going to pull it in like that. Let's click on save changes, and we're going to get this shortcode right here. Let's copy that. Let's go to pages. We see we have no edit post page. Let's click on add new. Let's call the page edit post. Let's add a shortcode block. If you don't have a shortcode block visible, like I just had there, just type in shortcode. It'll pop up. Let's publish that. Boom, we're done. Let's go back to, I don't want to click that. I want to go back to the home page with the edit buttons. Find any edit post button you want, click on it, and here's our post editing form. We have the ability with this drop down here to choose any other post on the website. We can edit the post title, edit the post excerpt, the featured image, the post status. There is no place to edit the content right now. We should probably have that. So when I said we're not going to edit anything on that form that front-end admin created for us, I lied. I glossed over it. We should have a post content option in here. So I'm going to add a new field, and it's going to be a content field type. So we can search for it here. I'm just going to scroll down because I want to show you something. So here's the posts section. We saw this a little bit earlier. I kind of glossed over it. Under posts, we have all this pre-created material that can be pulled in. So we have the title, the content, the excerpt, the slug, the post status, the featured image, the post type, published on, author, menu order, all these options related to posts that we can easily pull in just by clicking the button here. And now we're going to have that pulled in, all the content for the post. For display mode, you can have edit or read only. You know what, just for fun, let's add that in. First, we'll name this post content. We're going to move this up below the excerpt. That's where it's going to show on our edit form. And just for fun, I'm going to add in some of the other post info so we can see what that looks like. Let's choose published on, display mode, read only, and I'm going to add in author for the field label, display mode, read only. And I'm going to change the width of these. Published on, I think if I change this to 50%, we are going to be able to have the author and the published on side by side. Let's change those both to 50. Click on Save Changes. And now when I come back out here and refresh this form, we should have the post content editing box right below the excerpt, and then our published on and author at the very bottom. So let's refresh. There's our content, images and everything. And there's our published on and author. Author is blank for some reason, but they're side by side because we changed the width to 50%. So now we can edit any of this content. So to prove that to you, let's change this to 5 brain strengthening exercises. Let's submit that. This message says the form has been submitted successfully. Come back out here and we should have the word strengthening after brain. Let's refresh. And there it is. Super slick. Let's check incognito. And bada bing, bada boom, brain strengthening. Now your client can edit all the posts they want on their website to their heart's content. But what if they want to add new posts? Currently, they're going to have to go back into the WordPress dashboard and go through the old add new post process in the back end. But we want it all on the front end. To do that, we just have to add one more plugin. And we're going to add the ability for them to click a link. We're going to put a button up in the menu up here, and then they'll be able to add new posts whenever they want to. So let's go back into the WordPress dashboard. Let's go to plugins and then add new plugin and look up user menu. This is going to allow us to have different menus for different types of users, or for logged in users and not logged in users. And why we want that probably already makes sense to you. We want to change this menu for when someone's logged in as the admin to have an add post button. Click on install now to install that plugin. And before we add, let's activate that. Before we add the button to the menu, first we're going to create the form and the pages. So let's go back to the front end admin. We saw how easy this was earlier. Click on add new, choose new post. And I just realized the edit form we made, I didn't change the name up here. So I want to change the name. I'm going to have to go back and edit that. Make sure we're organized. Click on Save Changes. And this is going to allow us to create the post title, content, excerpt, add a featured image, change the post status, and there's a submit button. If you want to change any of these or add more content, click on the add field button, and you can add all kinds of custom content, or allow your client to add all kinds of custom content that they would need to add to their posts. This is good enough for what we're doing. Click on Save Changes, click on Publish in the bottom right to make sure it's published. Copy this. Go to Pages and then add new page. Let's call this Create a New Post. Add our shortcode widget, paste that in there, publish and publish. And now we have our Create a New Post form. Bada bing, bada boom. Super simple. Now all we have to do is add this to our menu system. So we're going to go back into the WordPress dashboard. We're going to head over to Appearance and then Menus. If your website does not have the menus option under Appearance, that means you're using a block theme. You'd edit those menus a little differently. I'll link to a tutorial in the card up above that shows you how to find where to edit that content, but the options should be similar once you get into the menu editing. So we have our menu here. This is the one we have at the top of our website. This is the new page we just created. Create a new post. Let's add that to the menu and let's open her up. In here, we have this new option, which you might not have seen before. Who can see this link? This is added by the user menus plugin. Everyone is the default. I'm going to choose logged in users. Following that, you can choose which roles can see this link, which roles won't see this link. So you can choose either one of those. One will lead to less check marks down at the bottom. So you pick the one that's easier, I guess. So I'm going to choose which roles can see this link, and I'm going to choose administrator. Then I'm going to save menu. And now, if I refresh this page out here, I've got to create a new post link right here. And if I go incognito, where I'm not logged in, that menu item is not there. So now your client can come in here, click on create a new post, and then they'll fill out this form and they'll have a new post. And I just realized we don't have the categories in here because we have our health, mindfulness, popular, and whatever else the category was. We can't select those because we don't have the option here. So we do need to go in and edit that form. Let's go back to Frontend Admin inside the WordPress dashboard, go to Forms, go to New Post Form, edit that. Under Add Field, search for Taxonomy. For the field label, call it Taxonomy, press Tab, and now we have Taxonomy. I'm going to move this up to above the Submit button, above Post Status, in fact. I'm going to make this 50% wide. And Post Status, I'll make 50% wide as well. There we go. And on the Taxonomy tab, I also forgot to mention that we chose category. You can choose all kinds of other taxonomies. Usually category and tag are built into WordPress by default. You might have others created by plugins or on purpose by you using advanced custom fields or something like that. So you choose the correct taxonomy, click on Save Changes, and now when I refresh this page, we have our taxonomy options here. We can add a new one too, and that was added in by this button right here, Create Terms. So you can create a new taxonomy. I don't know why it's pushed into the middle here. It should be under these ones. Anyhow, now your client can create a solid post. Let's quickly fill this in so we have a new post to check out. Let's add a featured image. Let's add this happy lady here. Kind of fits in with the theme of the website. I'm going to choose health and popular for the categories. Post status is published. Click on Submit, and form has been successfully submitted. And now if we go to the home page, hopefully our new post will be there. And Bob's your uncle. There it is. Click on Edit Post, and we can edit it to our heart's content and go back and forth and round all day long. So now our clients have the ability to add new posts. They have the ability to edit posts, but they only have the ability to do that with their own administrator account. Now we're going to add the ability to have other people come in and write content for websites and be able to only edit their own specific material that they're creating. To do this, I'm going to clean up our tabs first. We're going to go back into the dashboard and add a plugin, maybe two. Let's go to Plugins and Add New. Let's search for Advanced Queries. This is created by Shapti Kaplan. This is the same person who created the Frontend Admin plugin. Click on Install Now to install that. This is going to give us the ability to add more filters for our post loop. I click Activate to activate it. We're basically going to take the functionality we already created and just expand it to allowing other users to be able to create their own. So we're going to create a new page first. Go to Pages and then Add New. We're going to call this page My Posts. And this is going to show all the posts that that person who you're hiring or people who you're hiring to write posts have written on your site. Click on Edit with Elementor because it's going to be a list of posts. And we want to add the posts widget right here. Very similar to what we have on our existing homepage, as we saw before. You can even copy those over if you wanted to. But we're just going to do it from scratch again so you can see how it works again. Change the skin from classic to custom. Choose our posts loop. There's our posts right there. Bada bing, bada boom. I don't like how it goes right to the edge, so I'm going to click on the 6 dots for this section and make the width a percentage 95. There we go. A little bit of space on the edge. I like that better. And now we have this loop that displays all the posts. Let's add a heading so people know where they are. Let's call this My Posts. Let's add some margin to the bottom. Now we're going to add a little bit of advanced functionality that the Advanced Queries plugin added for us. Click on the pencil to make sure we're editing the Edit Posts widget. Go to Query. At the very bottom, we have Advanced Query Options now because of that plugin. We're going to choose Dynamic User. We get a new option down below called Dynamic User. From here, we make sure the post author is the current user. Add that in. Click on Publish. So now we have this created so that this specific page is going to be dynamic and it's only going to show posts that that person has created. So let's go back to the dashboard and we're going to add a new menu item up here, which is a link to that posts page. Let's go to the dashboard, appearance, and then menus. Click on My Posts, click on Add to Menu, open this up. Who can see this? Not everyone, only logged in users. And I want admins, editors, and authors to be able to see it. And this one up here, create a new post. I want admins, editors, and authors to see that as well because they're going to need to be able to click that button to create new posts. So let's click on Save Menu to save that. Now if we go back out to the front end, we've got a new menu item, My Posts. If we click on that, it shows a list of all my posts. I click on Edit Post and I'm off to the races. But currently I'm the admin and I see all the posts. So we got to add a new user. Let's go into Users and Add New User. Fill out this form. I've set them as an author. Click on Add New User. Now let's assign a post to that user. Let's go to Posts, All Posts. Let's do this first one here that we created earlier. Click on Quick Edit and under Author, choose Testing. Click on Update. And now watch this. I go to our post list here. This is the one we just changed to Testing. Let's refresh the page. That post is gone. That is now only visible to the testing user. Let's go to incognito. Let's log in and prove that to you. Incognito, the menu is back to the baseline menu. Let's log in. Once we're logged in and back on the home page, go to My Posts, and we see they have one post available here, but they don't have an edit button. So we have to expand the functionality of our edit button. So let's go back into our post loop, where we created this loop at the very beginning of this video. Click on the pencil right here. We want to make sure we have the permissions tab open. Under visibility, we set it initially to be only available to administrators. Now we want to add editors and authors. Publish that. Save and close. And now if I refresh this page, we have the Edit Post button. Click on there, and now we get a blank page. There's no post editing field here. Luckily, it's easily fixed. So let's go back into the front end, go to Frontend Admin, and then Forms. Find the Edit Post form, click on Edit, go down to the very bottom, under Settings, and then Permissions. Open this one up. It says here, only administrators can see the form. Let's add in editors and authors. Click on Save Changes. Now if I come out here and refresh, I can edit the post. Super sweet. If I click on Create a New Post, we have to do the same thing. So let's go back to Forms again. Under New Post Form, go to Settings, Permissions, open this up, choose Editor and Author again, Save Changes, and now we have our Create New Post form. Super slick. Now we have our user, our test user, who has one post, who can now create new posts and edit posts, and only their posts. And now I'm going to show you how to make sure that they only have access to their own media library. So let's go into our editor again and go to this one here where we're editing the loop and the Edit Post button. We want to set the media library information here. So we want them to be able to access the media library, and we also want media privacy. So we can click on this link right here. That opens the Uploads Privacy tab inside the Frontend Admin settings. Click on this toggle to say yes for media upload privacy. Click on Save Settings, and now everybody has access to their own media library. If I come back out here, let's create a new post. New testing post is going to be the name and all the content so we can differentiate it. Let's put it mindfulness and popular. Let's add an image. Click on media library. We don't have any media library. There's nothing in here. Let's upload an image. Let's upload that one right there. Click on select, and we have our new image there. Click on submit. Under my posts, we now have our new post right there. Now let's click on create new post again. Scroll down, click on add an image. That's the image we just uploaded, I'm sure you recall. And so everybody has their own specific media library now, which is pretty cool. Pretty cool indeed. And that counts for as many authors and editors as you want, as many as you want. And currently, it's set to allow whatever posts are created to instantly be published to the website. You might not want to do that. You might want more control over people publishing posts on your site. What you can do is you go to the Frontend Admin, go to Forms, go to New Post Form, go down to Submissions. For submission requirements, choose Admin Approval. And now whatever post is submitted, after you click Save Changes, has to be approved by the admin before it's actually published to the site. On the Submissions tab here, the admin can see all the posts that have been submitted. Currently they're all approved because we just changed that setting now, but those will be set to pending in the future when posts are submitted. It even shows all the editing that's done. So it's kind of a log of what's happening with the front-end admin forms on your site. So now we have the ability to, on our website, have as many people as we want, create posts, have the admin approve the posts when they're done. Everybody gets access to their own media library, and you can start building your website content right through the front end. This is all in the front end. You could use some code to even get rid of access to the back end. Right now we have the ability to go to dashboard. As an author, we have a lot less menu options over here, but you don't even need to be in here anymore. You could use a plugin or code to just make that go away. Not even give them access to the dashboard. Just everything's done on the front end because they don't need to be back there. And even with everything we covered in this tutorial, we've only scratched the surface of what front-end admin can do. If we head out to front-end admin's website, you can check out the features and the documentation, also reviews and pricing for the Pro version. If you thought the free version did a lot, you should check out the Pro version to see what it can do. But through the features and documentation, you can see tons and tons of use cases. So maybe you have a use case in mind. You want to see if front-end admin can handle it, or maybe you don't. You just want to see what it's capable of. You can do so many things. Even Stripe and PayPal integration, so you can integrate payments on your front-end forms if you need to. You could add this to directory websites. You could charge companies to create a post or a page on your directory, and they can all do it on the front end. It's totally hands-off for you in that case. There's just so many options you can do. And the pricing is pretty reasonable, $45 per year, not per month, per year for a live site, staging site, and all the updates and all the features. And the higher the price, the more sites you can use it on. There's also a lifetime option for $170 for one site, $340 for 3 sites, and $550 for 50 sites. So if you thought front-end admin is pretty cool, I encourage you to come to their page here and check out what else they can do for you. Shopty even has a bunch of YouTube tutorials and a YouTube channel. So if you want to check out even more in-depth tutorials, check out his channel. He's only got 16 videos, but I know for a fact he's creating more and working hard at it. If front-end admin looks promising to you, check out those resources because it's a great plugin. If you got value from this video, hit like and subscribe because that lets me know. And then check out this video over here, which is all about speeding up your website to make it as fast as possible. Till next time, I'm Bjorn from WP Learning Lab. Keep crushing it, and I will see you in the next video.